What if I told you the peace you've been searching for isn't somewhere out there? It's not in more money, not in success, not in other people's approval. It's trapped inside your own mind. Right now, as you're listening to this, your thoughts are either building your future or quietly destroying it. Overthinking, replaying conversations, imagining worst-case scenarios, fighting battles that haven't even happened yet. And the scary part is this: most people live their entire lives without ever learning how to stop it. But in the next minutes, you're going to discover a lesson so simple, yet so powerful, that it has helped people silence anxiety, regain control, and finally experience clarity. I'm not asking you to change your life. Just stay with me until the end, because once you understand this, you'll never look at your mind the same way again.
We live in a world that never stops talking. Notifications, deadlines, opinions, expectations. From the moment you wake up to the second you fall asleep, something is demanding your attention. A message, a headline, a memory, a worry. And even when the world gets quiet, your mind doesn't. It replays what you should have said. It reminds you of what went wrong. It predicts everything that could go wrong next. Your body might be sitting still, but your thoughts are running a marathon. When was the last time your mind was truly quiet, not distracted, not entertained, not numbed by scrolling, actually quiet? This constant mental noise isn't harmless. Overthinking slowly kills confidence because you start doubting every decision. Distraction quietly destroys productivity because you can't give your full focus to anything. And the endless chatter in your head blocks happiness because peace can't exist where noise controls everything. The most dangerous part is that it feels normal. So normal that most people don't even realize they're trapped inside their own thoughts.
There was once a young man named Daniel Carter. From the outside, Daniel looked like he had everything under control. He showed up to work on time, he laughed at the right moments. When someone asked how he was doing, he always said, "I'm good." But inside, Daniel was exhausted. Every night, he lay awake in his small apartment, staring at the ceiling while the city outside slowly fell asleep. His body begged for rest, but his mind refused to be quiet. Conversations replayed in sharp detail. Mistakes from years ago resurfaced as if they had happened yesterday. He would remember something his coworker Mark Reynolds said during a meeting and analyze it over and over. Did I sound stupid? Did I say too much? Did I not say enough? During the day, the noise followed him everywhere. When his sister Emily Carter told him she believed in him, he questioned whether she was just being kind. When his manager, Mrs. Thompson, praised his work, his mind immediately whispered, "She probably expects more next time. Don't mess it up." Even in quiet moments, the chaos continued. His thoughts argued with each other. His fears made predictions. His doubts created scenarios that hadn't even happened. Daniel's mind felt like a crowded marketplace, voices shouting, memories replaying, fears whispering worst-case outcomes. There was no silence, only movement. No peace, only pressure. He tried everything he could think of. He bought self-help books recommended by his friend Jason Miller. He downloaded meditation apps promising instant calm. He even asked his neighbor, Mr. Alvarez, who always seemed peaceful, how he stayed so relaxed. For a moment, things would improve, but the quiet never lasted. The harder Daniel tried to control his thoughts, the louder they became. The more he chased peace, the further it slipped away. And slowly, a dangerous belief started to form in his mind. Maybe this is just who I am. Maybe some people are simply meant to live inside the noise. He didn't know it yet, but that belief was about to be challenged. One evening, while Daniel Carter sat alone in his apartment, scrolling mindlessly through his phone, he came across something that caught his attention. It wasn't an ad. It wasn't another productivity hack. It was a short story about a man known simply as Master Liang. People said he lived far beyond the city, in the quiet mountains where the noise of the world could not reach him. They said he had the ability to bring peace to even the most restless mind. Daniel almost laughed when he read it. He had tried books, he had tried apps, he had tried advice from Mark Reynolds, from Jason Miller, from anyone willing to offer it. Nothing worked. But something about this felt different. Maybe it was desperation, maybe it was curiosity, or maybe it was the smallest flicker of hope he had left. A week later, Daniel found himself driving away from the city before sunrise. The buildings slowly disappeared behind him. The roads became narrower. The air became quieter. The constant noise that usually filled his ears was replaced by wind brushing against trees and the distant sound of birds he hadn't noticed in years. For the first time in a long while, the outside world was calm. But inside, the storm was still there. Doubt traveled with him. What if this is pointless? What if this is just another disappointment? What if I'm beyond fixing? After hours of travel, Daniel reached a small wooden house resting against the side of a mountain. There were no grand signs, no crowd, no ceremony, just silence. And standing outside the house was Master Liang. He wasn't dressed in anything extraordinary. He didn't look mystical or dramatic, yet there was something unsettling about him. He was completely still, not stiff, not forced, still in a way Daniel had never seen before, as if nothing inside him was fighting for attention. Daniel stepped forward, his heart pounding with a mixture of hope and embarrassment. "Master Liang," he said, his voice slightly unsteady, "my mind won't stop. I can't silence it. I can't control it. Please teach me how." Master Liang looked at him for a long moment, studying him without judgment. Then he smiled gently. "Come back tomorrow morning," he said. That was all. No advice, no technique, no explanation. Just one word that left Daniel standing there with more questions than answers. Tomorrow. And for the first time, the silence felt heavier than the noise. The next morning, Daniel Carter woke before dawn. The air was crisp, and the mountain village was still shrouded in mist. Master Liang was waiting, calm and unmoving, as if he had been expecting Daniel all night. In his hands, the master held a simple wooden bowl, full to the brim with clear, still water. "Daniel," he said, his voice steady and soft, "carry this around the village and return without spilling a single drop." Daniel blinked. He had expected a lesson in words, a mantra, or a secret technique, not a bowl of water. His mind swirled with questions, but he nodded. He stepped onto the narrow dirt path. Every movement had to be careful, deliberate. As he walked, the village came to life. Children ran past, shouting and laughing. Dogs barked, chasing one another across the street. Merchants arguing loudly over prices, their hands waving in frustration. A festival drum beat somewhere in the square, filling the air with booming rhythm. Every instinct screamed at Daniel to look, to react, to notice everything around him. But he kept his eyes on the bowl, step by step, breath by breath. Minutes felt like hours. His shoulders tensed. His mind wanted to wander, but he forced it back to the simple task. Don't spill a single drop. When he finally returned to Master Liang, hands shaking but bowl intact, the master asked calmly, "Did you hear the arguments? Did you notice the festival?" "No," Daniel replied, voice quiet, almost breathless. "Why?" the master asked. "Because I was focused on the bowl," Daniel said, realizing the truth in his words even as he spoke them. Master Liang nodded, his eyes soft but piercing. He didn't explain more, and yet Daniel felt that something profound had begun to shift inside him. The quiet clarity in the master's gaze promised lessons far deeper than words could describe. Daniel Carter returned to his small room that evening, the bowl still fresh in his memory. He couldn't stop thinking about Master Liang's words, though the master had offered no explanation. He began to practice quietly, trying something he had never truly done before. He breathed slowly, deliberately, feeling the rise and fall of his chest. Each inhale, each exhale became a small anchor. He focused on one simple task at a time, washing a cup, sweeping the floor, tending the fire, letting his thoughts drift by without chasing them. At first, it was difficult. His mind protested. Memories, worries, doubts, they surged like waves. But instead of fighting them, Daniel observed them. He noticed their patterns, their color, their weight, and then let them pass, one by one, without gripping them. For the first time, he realized that peace wasn't about silencing the thoughts. It was about noticing them, allowing them, and redirecting his attention to what mattered most in the moment. The constant buzzing inside him began to fade, not completely, but enough that he could feel the difference. His shoulders relaxed, his heartbeat slowed. He could look at the world without it feeling like a storm. Daniel understood something quietly profound. The mind is a tool, and like any tool, it must be directed. Left unchecked, it causes chaos. Guided with intention, it becomes his greatest ally. He looked out the window at the mountains, bathed in soft evening light. For the first time in years, he felt calm, grounded, steady, as if he had discovered a space within himself that had always been waiting. And in that moment, a question formed, not for Daniel, but for the listener. What if your peace isn't missing, but simply buried beneath distraction, waiting for you to notice it? Daniel Carter had begun to notice something remarkable. The simple act of focusing on one thing at a time was transforming the way he moved through life. Each small task completed with attention felt heavier with meaning, lighter with ease. He realized that focus was power. Multitasking had scattered his mind for years, leaving him anxious and exhausted. Now, by giving his full attention to one thing, whether washing a cup, reading a page, or tending the fire, he could move through the day with clarity. He also understood that resisting thoughts only gave them strength. Instead of chasing every worry, every memory, he observed them without judgment. Thoughts became clouds drifting across a sky he controlled, not storms he was trapped in. And most importantly, he learned that control didn't come from silencing the world. He couldn't stop the noise outside, nor the chatter of opinions, deadlines, and expectations. But he could choose what he let in. He could choose what deserved his attention. These lessons weren't abstract. Daniel applied them quietly in his everyday life. When he studied, he left his phone in another room, allowing his mind to absorb knowledge instead of distractions. When he spoke with his sister, Emily Carter, he listened fully, hearing not just her words, but the feeling behind them. When he worked, he gave himself 30 minutes of undisturbed focus, feeling the depth of his own effort. And then it clicked. Your attention is like sunlight. Scattered, it warms, but when it is focused, it burns. It has power. And that power belonged to him, waiting for him to direct it. Even as Daniel continued to practice, he knew this was only the beginning. The quiet clarity he felt was not magic, not a secret only Master Liang held. It was a skill, and it could be learned by anyone willing to notice, to focus, and to direct their attention like sunlight. Daniel Carter sat by the edge of the quiet mountain stream, the lessons of Master Liang still alive in his mind. The bowl, the walk through the village, the slow breaths, they weren't just memories. They were mirrors reflecting his own thoughts. He turned the question inward. And now it was your turn. What's distracting you right now? What thoughts are running wild, demanding your attention, pulling you away from what matters most? If your mind is the bowl, what are you spilling your energy on without even noticing it? Daniel realized that awareness was the first step. Noticing the distractions, naming them, and deciding where to focus is where change begins. Take a moment and reflect. And if you're ready to take that first step toward focus and clarity, type "focus" in the comments. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself commit. And don't keep this to yourself. Share this story with someone you know who needs a moment of calm, a reminder that peace isn't lost, it's waiting to be discovered, one intentional step at a time. Because like Daniel, anyone can learn to carry their bowl without spilling it. Daniel Carter stood on the mountain path, watching the sun sink behind the peaks. The lessons of Master Liang had changed something deep inside him. He understood now that his mind could be his prison, trapping him in endless noise and worry. Or it could be his greatest power, guiding him with focus and clarity. The choice, as it always had been, was his. And just as Daniel chose focus, you too can decide where your attention goes. If you want more stories like this, stories that reveal the hidden strength of the mind and teach simple yet life-changing lessons, subscribe now. Every week, powerful narratives like Daniel's arrive, ready to inspire and guide. And before you go, imagine this. In the next video, you'll meet a man who turned rejection into unstoppable confidence. The lessons he learned will challenge the way you think about failure and show you how to rise stronger every time. Remember this, as Daniel learned on that quiet mountain path: empty your mind, focus your life.